What's up guys, Boxy here. Today we're going to be doing the raid guide for the Ancient Tree on Epic difficulty. As far as markers setup, I suggest your 3 top DPS getting a marker on their head. They're going to be your beam people. You have 3 beams in this raid, and you're going to want to have those top DPS in each one of them. You're going to need to pair 2 DPS in each beam. Your healers are going to want to spread themselves so that they can take over the beams when needed. It is going to be needed for this raid. With the stack of the debuff, you're going to want to get 8 to 9 and swap, and then watch for when your partner gets to 8 or 9 and then swap it back in. Next mechanic, Wild Growth, comes up. It is no longer sequential in Epic. It is now going to pick randomly, so the pattern won't quite be predictable. You have to be on your toes. Soul Link is the other new mechanic that you're going to be introduced to. If it is a blue beam connecting you to a raid member, you have to get as close as possible to each other. If it is an orange beam, you have to get as far away from each other as you can. At the same time as this, we're also seeing the mushrooms, which heal the boss for a lot more now, and they are a lot tankier. So you're going to want to equip your knockbacks and your stuns to keep the mushroom from getting to the boss while you burn it down. Now following this, you'll see we go back into Wild Growth. At the same time, you'll also notice that these soul links and mushrooms are happening all while we're doing these other mechanics. So you have to be constantly aware of them and be quick to swap. Soul link takes priority, and then mushroom takes second priority. Beams are last priority, but healers should be helping to mitigate them because you don't want the stacks to build up too high. The boss will one-shot your tanks. Now we're going to be going into the phase transition. As you see, the boss does a lot more AoE damage when he throws his little tantrum, but overall it's not that bad. So for this phase, the big change that we're going to run into is Pollinate now targets 2 players. So 2 people will get those pink circles around them, and you want to run them out as soon as possible. A tip with avoiding the rotted ground, you basically want to stand directly at his back, because he'll rotate either clockwise or counterclockwise 90 degrees to the side. So you'll always be right on the edge and able to run out easily. So while we continue through this phase, I'm just going to recap the important parts to remember from phase 1. DPS, you're going to want to use your knockbacks and stuns to get those mushrooms. For the entire raid, you have to get to those soul links immediately. If it's blue, make sure you get next to them right away. If it's orange, make sure you spread as far as you can from wherever that beam's coming from. Healers, you're going to have to hop in those beams, so you're going to want to position yourself between 2 beams with your partner between the other set of 2 beams. This is going to give you the best access to helping wherever it's necessary. The beams will increase your healing output, which is definitely going to help, but the priority is keeping those beams from getting the boss because the tank damage can get unreasonable if you're not too careful. Now as we come into the second main phase, you're going to see that it's a repeat of all the mechanics from the first one. Nothing changes in that regard. They just tend to happen a little more often now, but you're just handling them the same as you did the first phase. Just going to reiterate here, once you hit that 9 or 10 stacks in the beam, get the hell out. Do not wait, do not push it any further. Your team has to pick up the slack. As far as handling beams as well, if you're ranged, you want to end up closer to the boss more often, just because it lets you get to the mushrooms even when they're all the way across the room a lot better. Now that you guys understand the phases, just going to go through the rest of the video till the final phase, and we'll recap then. Now, as we're entering into the final phase, this boss does have a berserk mechanic that will just wipe the raid. There's no soften rage on this one. As soon as that berserk timer ends, he is going to hammer the ground so hard that everyone dies, basically. That's pretty much the entire fight. As long as you're mechanically sound with doing the beams, breaking those soul links, and getting those mushrooms as fast as you can, you should be good for this fight. Just make sure you're spreading this guide to all your guildmates so that they all know what their roles should be, so that you're all on the same page. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Boxy out.